Alrighty, welcome back guys to another gun build in Modern Warfare. Today I'm actually going to be looking at a gun that I don't really see anyone using in multiplayer or really anything, but I think it falls inside the same line, at least for its category of weapons, very much like the M13 or um, really a bunch of other weapons that are really good but no one really uses them for some reason, like the AN-94, really slept on gun. But yeah, it falls underneath the category of very slept on, and I think actually is really solid and probably should not be in the marksman rifle category, to be completely honest with you. So, the best way I could possibly describe this gun is the better version of the Odin. So it's a two-shot kill, unless you hit someone in the head. It has an incredibly long one-shot headshot range. Not like the EPR-14. I think the EPR-14 has an infinite one-shot headshot range, while this one does drop off, I believe, at the 70-meter mark, or very similar stats when it comes to headshots for like the Dragunov or so. So it's for the ranges at least, it's very similar to the Dragunov. It actually has extreme amount of ranges for it to be in the actual larger sniper rifle category, and has way faster fire rate than the EPR-14. Not as much as the Odin. It is semi-automatic, unlike the Odin, even though you can turn the Odin to like a 2-round burst or switch it over to single fire. It does have like a 300, almost 400 fire rate cap, which is very, very fast. I mean, like you can drop people real quickly. And it is a two-shot at the minimum, I think, unless you're hitting limbs at a very long range. But 9 times out of 10 it's going to be about two-shot minimum to kill someone. It is a very ugly looking gun, I'm not going to lie. For like the actual stock, it kind of looks like they gave up about, halfway through and just slapped on a stock like that. So they kind of just cut the gun. Luckily, you don't need to actually see the back end of the gun when you're running around with it. You're not going to be seeing the stock end, so that doesn't really matter a whole lot. What I want to go over is my preferred build, and what I recommend to you guys to run this weapon in the best way possible. This is kind of falling for more for its actual strengths for longer range engagements, but you can build this gun to where it is really light. It is, if you could build it with just like one or two different attachments, you can actually make it to where it's just a bit faster than the AK 47 by default, which is really solid. This is what I mean. Like it should be in the assault rifle category, but it hits like a truck and is up here and a marksman rifle area, kind of like the Mark II carbine. So I mean, this is what I mean. Like it's a blend between a large amount of guns, but best compared to the Odin, I think. But yeah, let me go ahead and go into it. So obviously, we're going to be going for the smaller barrel. Like I said, like even though I just said it's more playing for its longer range strengths, it is already good for longer ranges. I'll be putting on other attachments to help out recoil, but I'm going to be putting on the smaller barrel to make it to where it's a little bit more aggressive for you guys. So I'm going to put on the 16-inch FSS para. The underbarrel, I recommend running the Merc foregrip. You can do that if you want to. I think that's like the lightest grip that you can get to. Actually, I think the operator grip is. So yeah, so you want to go with the underbarrel operator grip. It gives you the least amount of penalty to your actual movement, and your aim down sight speed isn't really affected a whole lot. It gives you a lot more recoil control, so it'll stop the actual like high magnitude bounces of your gun, combined with a muzzle brake, and this will make it to where the gun will recenter faster and not have horizontal recoil, to where now it is essentially a laser beam despite it having a smaller barrel. So you still keep the insane amount of accuracy while still having a large amount of speed added onto the gun. On top of that, you want to go to your optics. I do recommend running an optic on here. The iron sights is kind of trash for the weapon. That is one thing. It does have its actual own scope if you want to use that. It's the PU scope. It does have an optic glint, so be aware of that. It's essentially the sniper rifle scope, or its version of the sniper rifle scope. So you can run that on there. I just go with a normal reflex sight. You can absolutely play this gun in more of a close quarters kind of range. And on top of that, Uh, by default, it does come with a 20-round magazine. You can bump it up to 30 if you want to. You can also run a laser or anything like that, or you can actually drop it down to 10-round mag. I don't really use this a whole lot, but you do get an aim down sight speed bonus, a pretty big one actually, sprint to fire speed, which is actually really good for this gun in this category, movement speed increase, and reload quickness at the cost of 10 less rounds, which you can put on there, so it makes it to where it's way faster. I don't really run that. I just keep the 20 on there. You can bump it up to 30, like I said, but that's kind of overkill. So I'll just put on the tac laser. You can put on different types of stocks. They don't really do a whole lot when it comes to mobility. Like there's the SKS rifle stock. This will give you aiming stability and aim walking steadiness. If you want to move for longer range kind of engagements and stuff, this is kind of the way to go. It helps you out pretty well. Or you can have the FTAC Hunter Scout. It gives a more modern look to the weapon. It doesn't increase any of your aim down sight speed, but you can also put on the sawed-off stock. This will obviously make it to where it's way faster for ADS speed, but the recoil control is reduced a ton. So I don't really recommend running that. I'll just keep the normal stock on there. Again, you don't really need to see it anyway. So, I mean, that's what you would want to do. So these three areas you don't really want to be using. I run the optic. It's not really necessary, but I do that for the conveniency of it because iron sights is, like I said, pretty trash. Tac laser for the aim down sight speed and the all the other stuff that come along with it. Operator foregrip to stop the magnitude of the recoil. Muzzle brake to mostly for the recenter speed, and the 16-inch barrel for the aim down sight speed bonus combined with the tac lasers. So we'll go ahead and jump into a game and I'll show you guys how it is. I'll also put a AK alongside it so you guys can kind of see a comparison. It's the AK without no attachments on it, so you can kind of see. Obviously you could build the AK to where it's a lot lighter, and obviously it's going to be faster than the SKS, but by default this is what I want to show you guys. It kind of leans more towards the assault rifle category. So as you can see, with this build, it is actually still fairly fast.
You are clear to engage all threats.
As you can see, it is actually really solid with the recoil too. Now what you can do, if you wanted to drag down on the gun more, if you want to, you could just put on the commando foregrip.
We've got control.
And it'll make it to where the gun will recenter like almost instantly every time that you fire, so it's a really good deal there. As you can see, it drops people fast. Like this is a really, really good gun for aggressiveness. So if I swap over to the AK, so as you can see, it has like a very similar speed to it. I think it's like very, very slightly faster than the AK. Yes, I just got a collateral headshot. That's something. And your aim while walking movement speed is pretty fast as well, which is really cool to see. I hit him in the shoulder there.
Specialist achieved.
Now then.
As you can see, you have a really long one-shot headshot area. In normal multiplayer, you wouldn't really ever be in any kind of range that thing actually drops off at. And this is with the shortest barrel, so, you know, you can imagine how it is with the longest one if you want to run that. But yeah, so this keeps the gun to where it's still really laser beam accurate while you still get a bunch of the movement speed bonuses. Of course, if you're actually able to aim on like me. It's a really cool gun. I really like it because, you know, even though it is a bit ugly on the back end, it is a really solid gun to be using. Like I said, it is semi-automatic, as you can already see, so there isn't really a way, I don't think. Let me check here. I don't think there is. Yeah, there's no way to actually make it to where it's a 3-round burst or anything like the sort, so you are stuck with the semi-automatic. That's alright, it kills people just fine.
Alright.
Oh yeah, I also forgot to show this. So it kind of falls in line with the AK as well. They both shared the same ammo type. So you can get the AK and then put on fully loaded if you want to. Alongside the magazine of the 75 round. I kill myself here. And you have 265 rounds by default, so it is a weird blend between the AK and the Odin, is probably what I would say for this gun here. I don't know how that wasn't a headshot, but there you go. The reload speed isn't that bad.
Enemy at the forklift.
Wow, I am absolutely awful there. Let's just act you didn't see that. But yeah, so very much kind of going along with the AK. It really is the better AK, even though it does shoot slower. You are able to get a lot more consistent kills with it, and it is a little bit faster in handling, even with this kind of build. Now obviously you can put on the no stock, so let me see if I can take off the scope. I'll show you guys this. So you can put on the no stock and then take away the scope. I'll show you guys the iron sights. It looks absolutely awful, but if you don't mind it, you don't need to run it. So there you go. I actually backs it out a little bit more, so when you do put on the no stock, it does back up the sights a little bit more for you, so you're able to get a better picture of everything around you.
Now then.
So I didn't notice that at first. I'm not sure if that was always like that, but you can run that. So the gun is going to be a little bit more bouncier, but it is controllable. But you can put that on there. Now you got yourself a real fast moving DMR. But the build before, without running the stock on there, that's what I recommend for getting more of a accurate shots off on enemies. So you can put that on there. Yeah, aside from that, guys, this is all I just wanted to show. It's really an underrated gun.
Specialist achieved.
You can put that on there. Let's see if I can show you guys like what I mean by this, like the potential it really holds. You can put on the magazine, 10 round mag, no stock, laser. What else can we put on here? That's about it really. And you can put on sleight of hand, I guess. So all around, that's how fast you can actually get it. The aim down sight speed is real fast for that. Up close, you're going to be absolutely destroying people. The gun just bounces a whole lot more.
Enemy at the warehouse.
So I recommend though, like run a muzzle brake or something on the end of your gun, because that does make it to where that it does recenter a little bit faster than default, as you guys can see.
There. All is
Yeah, so you
forgiven.
can snap onto people really quickly. The only thing is that it has a real slow sprint to fire speed. So as you guys can see, like if I sprint or even normal sprinting, it goes way slower. But when you're aiming down sight, it's really solid. So normally I would just do normal sprints with this gun. That's probably the better thing to get into a habit with. If you're caught in a tactical sprint, you're essentially dead. The people will kill you about 2 times over with that, just because of the category it's in for weapons. So aside from that, you really do have assault rifle type handling, especially with the no stock on there. Put on a grip, muscle brake, you can still keep all that mobility to it, and it still has a really long one-shot headshot. So no matter what, this gun has great long-range potential, while still having mobility of, I believe, in the words of Exclusive Ace, I could be wrong here, he's the guy who does all the stats and stuff for this gun. I'm sure most of you guys already seen that, but he does say that it has a very fast aim down sight speed, very comparable to SMGs. So I mean, like the aim down sight speed to this gun is real good. Really underrated weapon, and I wanted to go over the gun for you guys, because I don't really see it ever used in multiplayer, and it absolutely shreds people. So tell me what you guys think about it down in the comments, if you actually use this weapon at all, and or if you don't like it, let me know why. But aside from that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.